I have literally opted into hundreds of marketing email lists and looked at hundreds of marketing funnels, all with the purpose of trying to grow my knowledge and see what the heck is happening in the marketplace. And that's what this episode is all about. The who, the why, and the how is what this episode is all about.
You know when someone is selling from stage and at the end the audience gets up and rushes to the back of the room to buy? That's a table rush. My name is Misha Z, and the Table Rush Talk Show is all about bringing you the tools, strategies, and tactics that you can use to grow your audience and inspire them to buy.
I was tallying up the numbers the other day of how much I've spent over the last 3 years in my online, let's say, digital marketing training. Man, it's got to be, it's over $100,000. Can you believe that? For coaching calls, coaches, masterminds, courses, trainings, opting into things, funnel hacking. Russell Brunson says, hey, the best way to learn about what's working out there, if you find a funnel that pulls you in or marketing that pulls you in, pull out your credit card, pay for whatever it is they're selling, and see and learn from how they're marketing it, how they're talking about it. And the other thing he talks about is his Dream 100. So he's like, hey, figure out the Dream 100 people you want to work with, that you'd like to partner with, go on their podcasts, go on their shows, affiliate relationships, whatever, that you'd like to learn from. And 3 years ago, that was wide open for me. And he basically says, hey, what you start doing is opting into their email lists, check out their funnels. And as you opt into their email lists to see what they're saying, to learn about them, to learn how they're selling, to learn how they're talking about what they're doing, you can create, filters on your email. So I created a specific, filters so you can filter the emails as they come in. So that way you don't even need to see them. You can just filter them to a folder. And then if you ever want to go back and look at them and see what they're up to, you can click on that folder, and then there's all their emails being saved. And so it won't clog up your inbox per se. So what I went ahead and did to help facilitate this is I created an email specifically for subscribing to things. So I have a whole nother email inbox that I've been subscribing to things and looking at what people are doing. And oh my gosh, sometimes this is the funny thing. Okay, so A is subscribe. Okay, and usually when you subscribe to something or you see a funnel or an ad that's interesting, so I'm constantly looking at Facebook ads, clicking through to see what they're selling, to see how they're selling it, trying to look at it from the magician's eye, trying to see what the magician is doing versus being, I don't want to say tricked, captivated by the magician. Does that make sense? So, trying to look at it and see, here's what techniques they're using, here's what tactics they're using, here's how they're talking to here's how they're talking to the audience, here's the hot button words they're using, Here's the literal look of the thing, the colors, the pictures, all of that. The VSLs, which are video sales letters, the videos or the testimonials. And so I have spent a lot of time clicking through, looking at them. And so what else you do is when you click through them and look at them, you can take screenshots or PDFs. There's actually a little Chrome extension that you can use that will capture the whole. It'll turn like, you know how sometimes you'll click on a funnel or click on a marketing piece or a super long web page, and it goes on, you scroll down and down and down. So and I can't remember what the little Chrome extension is. Wish I could, I'd tell you. But you can click on that Chrome extension and it turns that whole page into a PDF or a PNG file, whichever you want, PDF or a PNG. I make everything PDF. So you can, in effect, take one super long screenshot of their funnel and people call these things swipe files. So you can create swipe files. So sometimes when I'm really looking around at things and seeing what's out there and seeing how people are doing things, man, I will have so much so many screenshots, so many swipe files that it's ridiculous. And I've opted into like I said, so many email lists. What's my point here? My point is that one, I've got incredible knowledge of what's happening in all sorts of different arenas, from the hey bro marketers. Oh my gosh, what were all the terms I was thinking about as I was getting ready to record this? It's like all these, I don't know, just, hey bros. Oh my gosh, hey, every niche is covered is what I'll try to say. From the hey bros to the super wooey fooey, right? From the extreme left to the extreme right, or I guess the hey bro would be the extreme right to the extreme left of the hooey fooey. And hey, I've got a little of all of that in me as well. So no judgment on my end, said with love. You find your audience and you talk to your audience. You find your avatar and you talk to your avatar. And so now I've started to hone in on who I want to speak to and who do I want to start partnering with, and who do I want to really follow and really pay attention to their content, because it is intriguing to me. I like it. I would perhaps want to partner with them or jump on their shows or do things like that with. And so it's super refreshing and super exciting to finally be narrowing it down and being like, yeah, I don't need to opt into this. I don't need to pretend like I want to follow this person. And that feels real good. And so my avatar, who I am committed to right now, is a heart-centered entrepreneur. Like, that's who I want to help. That's who I can help. That's who I want to work with. I want to help heart-centered entrepreneurs bring their messages to market. And it's been really fun because as I've been talking to people within my network, people that I know that, hey, yeah, I would work with them if there was ever an opportunity. I straight up am asking them, guys or gals, would you consider yourself a heart-centered entrepreneur? And, what's the connotation of that towards you? Or when you hear it, what's the connotation? Which is kind of like saying, connotation is kind of like saying, how does that feel to you? How does that make you feel? Does that bring light, or does it make you feel negative, cringy? And almost to a T, everybody that I would have an interest in working with or have worked with has said, yes, indeed, I would consider myself a heart-centered entrepreneur. And I think, generally speaking, it's easier for a woman to say, oh yeah, I'm a heart-centered entrepreneur, and that might have a different meaning to a woman than it would to a guy. And so I was thinking, how else could I frame that? How else could I say that if I was trying to speak to a male audience that was indeed working from the heart or heart-centered, but just didn't like the squishy term, right? And maybe that'll just self-weed people out. But anyway, so I was talking to my buddy. I'm going to withhold his name for now. And I said, hey, and this guy helps people sell their companies for hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, he helps super successful entrepreneurs have hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billion-dollar exit strategies. And I'm like, this guy works from his heart. I know it, but I gotta ask him and see if he does, if he thinks so. So I straight up asked him, I'm like, yo, would you consider yourself a heart-centered entrepreneur? And he said, you know what? Yes, I would. And so I said, well, let's define that a little bit. And so for me, I was thinking, a heart-centered entrepreneur, it could also be said in a way that we're really, really trying to come from a place of service, of being of service. Like, that is our main number one driver all the time. How can we be of service? And really trying to go within, meditate, literally pray on that, talk to our God about that. Like, how can I be of service? How can I be of service to the world? What's my best way to be of service to the world? And then trusting that, the money will follow. Usually it does. And actually, if it doesn't, we don't care. That's the beauty. When you're in that heart-centered space, you're really just, I've found when I'm in that heart-centered service space, I've tapped in, I'm talking to God, the God within that's in my heart. There's so many ways you could say that intuitive spot, whatever. I am in my happy place. And if I'm ever struggling, and sometimes I'll struggle with finances, and when I'm fixated on the money aspect of things, when I can do that, what I like to call that CTA, that call to action that's actually clean thinking and acting. How can I clean up my thoughts? How can I clean up my subsequent actions? So C, clean, T, thoughts, A, actions. And then the further bit of that is my APB framework. So it's acknowledge that I'm in upheaval. Acknowledge I'm in upheaval, A. And then pause. Like, acknowledge, pause. Like, hey, there is a God out there, right? Breathe. And then it's pray. A little prayer. It's my apple. APPLE. A, acknowledge. P, pause. P, pray. That's APP. L, listen. And then E, execute. Execute on that intuition. And is that just to be? Like, calm, be, you don't need to do anything, you just need to chillax? Or is that act? I need to take these actions, these God-centered, heart-centered actions. Oh my gosh, you know what? I was not anticipating going down these rabbit holes on this episode, but nonetheless, here we are. This is probably a great spot to end, and then we'll perhaps go to a part 2. So we'll end this part 1 here, and go on to a part 2.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Table Rush Talk Show. For resources to help you sell your stuff, go to belove.media/resources. That's belove.media/resources. And be sure to subscribe, comment, 5-star, and share. Thank you again for listening.